If you're interested in living aboard or thinking about buying a boat, this video is for you. Today, I'm going to go over the 10 things that I wish I knew before getting into boat life. We're going to cover the good, the bad, and everything in between from the perspective of someone who has lived aboard for 18 months with no previous sailing experience. Let's start with the biggest surprise for us when we moved aboard: how much maintenance boats really need. It's not just sailing, it's fixing, cleaning, and maintaining constantly. On top of your normal chores, laundry, dishes, vacuuming, you'll also be learning and getting used to a whole new set of boat chores. I think us working full-time from our boat makes this especially challenging because there's always something to fix, polish, upgrade, or clean that we have to fit in between our jobs. When we first bought Talia, we thought of maintenance more as changing the engine oil or keeping an eye on our water and power usage. In reality, it is every square inch of the boat, from scrubbing the keels to sewing patches in the sails. For example, we definitely didn't think that our drive leg would give us as much trouble as it has. But on the bright side, we now have a much better understanding of that system and how to fix it when issues arise. Here's a tip: keep a maintenance log and stay on top of things. We're not perfect at this, but it definitely helps a lot when we do. And once you realize how much maintenance there is, the next thing that hits you is just how much time and money it all takes. The real cost of boat life. Everything takes longer and costs more than you think. If you're in the yard, expect your projects to take twice as long, and you might as well expect it to take twice as much money as what you planned. For example, our drive leg repair took 2 months, and we originally thought 1 month would be generous. Boat parts are not cheap, but doing the work yourself can save you money at the cost of time. One thing that has helped us is carrying backups for critical parts. There's an old joke that once you have 2 spares for something, that part will never break again. Having spare parts can help take some of the stress off when simple breaks come up. It's nice to be able to fix things on the go and not be slowed down so much by trying to find a part or having something shipped. Of course, once you've spent all that time and money on projects and parts, the question becomes, where do you put it all? Storage is never enough. You think that you're done downsizing until you realize that your tools take up the closet where you thought your clothes would go. Things can become overcrowded very quickly, especially if you're doing a lot of repairs and maintenance yourself. You end up with so many spare parts, tools, gear, and products for the boat that you really have to be ruthless when deciding what you really need for your personal items. For example, our galley is actually pretty roomy for a 37-foot boat, but provisions still seem to end up scattered everywhere. Organizing and downsizing are key, and we are hoping to have a future video where we cover this topic in greater detail. Even with your boat organized, you'll quickly learn that it's not really you in charge out there. The weather rules everything. Your plans will no longer be made around dates, but instead made around forecasts and windows. Plans need to be flexible. The forecast is always changing. For example, sometimes a good weather window unexpectedly pops up and you are taking off for a passage sooner than expected. Sometimes it's the opposite and you can end up stuck for weeks waiting for the right wind. This doesn't just apply to plans and passages, this also applies to anchorages. You may find yourself unexpectedly moving anchorages because the weather has shifted and a storm is on its way. This can be really frustrating, but moving to a more comfortable anchorage usually makes the experience better in the long run. This is all dependent on the size of the storm coming, but sometimes letting more chain out and waiting for the storm to pass can be your only option. We use apps like Windy and Predict Wind, but honestly the default Apple Weather app is surprisingly accurate for local rain predictions. Speaking of things that rule your life, water and power are a daily part of the equation too. Making water, conserving energy, solar panels, and battery balance. Honestly, this all becomes second nature after you've lived on a boat for a while, and I think we had an easier time adjusting to these systems because we had already spent a year living off-grid in our van before we purchased Talia. It can feel challenging and maybe a little overwhelming to take on so many new systems in the beginning. And this is going to vary person to person and also boat to boat. This all depends on your boat's setup and your water and power consumption. We have found that it is a lot easier to manage in the Caribbean with the abundant sun and cleaner seawater. But up north, especially late in the year, solar is weak, and water making in brackish bays means swapping filters constantly. Here's a tip: if you are shopping for a live-aboard boat, prioritize batteries, solar, and a reliable water system. Now, even if you have all of your systems running smoothly, boat life isn't just about gear. It's also about people, or sometimes the lack of them. Loneliness versus community. It can be a little lonely out here. We have each other, which makes a big difference, but even we feel isolated sometimes. After being on our own for a while, we both get really excited pulling into a new anchorage and seeing another boat already there. Even if we don't end up getting together, it's still comforting knowing we're not alone in this. I feel like friendships form fast on the water because sailors have so many shared stories and challenges. Thankfully, the sailing community is incredibly supportive once you connect with others. Knowing and talking to other folks who are living similarly and have been through similar situations can help so much, both for loneliness and also for sharing knowledge and information that can be otherwise hard to find. Honestly, having internet on the boat also makes a huge difference. We can stay connected to our families and friends, work online from the boat, always keep an eye on the forecast and what weather systems are developing, and keep ourselves sane out here. And when you do have people around, whether it's your partner or guests, living in tight quarters brings its own set of challenges. Yes, we are super grateful to not be in this lifestyle alone, but once in a while, you want a little alone space. Honestly, Patrick and I don't struggle with this too much. The boat feels like a mansion compared to our van. We also started on what I would consider to be a bigger boat for 2 people, but still once in a while, it can feel cramped, and this is coming from people who felt like we were pros at tiny living. Our van may have been much smaller than the boat, but it didn't require nearly as much gear, provisions, or spare parts. Tight quarters is also something to consider if you are planning on hosting frequently on your boat. Our shower system, when guests are aboard, involves yelling from the stern, "Don't come outside, I'm showering." It's doable, but it does take an adjustment. My advice for you is to try renting a boat or spending some time on a friend's boat to see if the space feels right for you. And honestly, tight quarters are just one more reason you need to stay flexible because nothing out here ever goes exactly to plan. Flexibility is everything. You will need to adjust to a very flexible lifestyle. Like I said before, plans often change last minute, and this could be due to weather or something breaking that needs to be repaired before you can continue. Sometimes there are simple things like haul-outs being rescheduled or an anchorage being rollier than expected. Being able to adapt and change your plans is key. Whenever we are making plans with other sailing friends, we end up having to go off of a general time frame instead of exact dates, and then just try to keep each other updated when we can. Boat life really teaches you resilience and forces you to let go of control. At first, this can feel frustrating, but in time, it's actually very freeing. And if changing plans wasn't enough, the ocean has a way of keeping you humble because things will break and often in ways you'd never expect. In boat life, you just kind of have to expect the unexpected. It's best to do a walk around your boat and get a good look at everything every day. This way you can spot changes. But even if you are very diligently checking your boat, things will still break unexpectedly. So if you're interested in learning a lot of new skills and becoming familiar with a lot of new systems, boat life is for you and can honestly be really fun. Maybe it's not always fun in the moment, but we can look back at the mistakes and repairs fondly. We've dealt with drive leg coupling fails, air leaks in our engine, spreaders falling, and sails ripping. Everything has its breaking point, and the ocean is a humbling place. In the moment, it is stressful, but looking back, these repairs give us new skills and usually turn into funny stories. Even with all of the breakdowns, frustrations, and challenges, boat life has this way of reminding you what really matters: the joy of simplicity. Despite all of the challenges, the simplicity makes boat life beautiful. Instead of shopping and coffee runs, our joy comes from sunsets and sea life. There is so much pleasure in watching the sunset every night on the water. Being able to swim right off the back of your own boat, sharing meals with friends, and experiencing ocean life right off the bow while underway. This lifestyle can be hard and challenging, but also so incredibly rewarding and inspiring. Some nights it's bonfires on the beach, other nights it's cards in the saloon. The highs are higher because of the simplicity of it all. And that is the real truth about boat life. It's hard, but it's worth it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. If you have any questions about anything I didn't cover, please leave a comment and we will get back to you. Also, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on our future videos.